Hello everybody, welcome to the premiere episode of the Horror Movie Review with Daniel Richardson. And what can I say? I just love talking about movies, whether I'm loving on them or just completely taking a big shit on them. Either way, I just got a lot to say and I need an outlet to do it. So here on TPS, we had TPS TV where, it seems like, once a week I would give my thoughts on, some of the newer release movies, and we'd occasionally, hit a classic or whatever, but for the most part, it's just kind of that little condensed, 10 to 15 minute show, but I decided to go long form here with the Horror Movie Review, with your host, Daniel Richardson. Way back in the day, I used to have a little YouTube show, and wore a mask, did this whole movie phantom type thing. In fact, there's probably still here on YouTube. Check it out, the Movie Fam's Horror Review. Make sure you type in that full title, though, because literally if you just type in, like, the Movie Phantom, the actual movie, The Phantom, comes up instead with Billy Zane. You don't see this guy at all. But no, so I had a lot of fun doing that, and I was like, I want to dust off the old format. And we would just do different things. Usually I'd have a big movie I was going to review, and then, we'd talk about some upcoming films and some horror news and just games and whatnot. So, I thought, let's give it a shot here on, the TPS YouTube channel. And, so tonight's the big movie we're going to be reviewing is The Exorcist. Was, many considered the greatest horror film of all time. So, that's going to be our big main event, our big feature bout right there. But let's get into, a little bit of horror news, shall we? This past week, they released the trailer for A Quiet Place 2. I'm a little shocked that this would be John Krasinski's next film. I don't know, could you imagine? Like, don't get me wrong, I love A Quiet Place. I thought A Quiet Place was a really great film. Definitely my top 10, when did it come out? Last year? Year before? No, it was last year. Or no, I guess 2 years ago, sorry, 2018. I just felt like I want to see more from John. Like, with Jordan Peele, he did Us, which, great. Or, sorry, he did Get Out first, and then turned around and did Us. Two separate films. Yes, still in the same, genre, but it's like, two totally different movies. And it would have been weird if, like, Jordan Peele would have done, like, Get Out 2. Because then you're like, ugh. I don't know. I just feel like, I want to see a director grow, I want to see him do other stuff. So the fact that he's doing, A Quiet Place 2, I'm just kind of like, not saying we couldn't, we didn't need it. Once again, it don't look bad. The trailer itself looks like they're kind of going the Godfather 2 route, where they're kind of showing you the prequel, before the aliens arrived, and then currently where we're at. Of course, it starts off, or in the trailer, it shows the mother, Emily Blunt, sorry, blanked her name. Emily Krasinski. Emily Blunt and her two kids driving, and then boom, the alien things are popping out, and you're just seeing chaos, which I really love it that, the whole thing is just kind of shot from inside the car. Like, you're just seeing it from this family's perspective, and I really dig that. Once again, I don't doubt that A Quiet Place 2 is not going to be good, is what it is. But then, of course, now we're seeing that they're having to leave. And it looks like, I kind of just pieced it together from the actual trailer, but it looks like, they're not just heading out on their own. It's like they're trying to get help from the others in the community, because if you remember back to A Quiet Place, Krasinski would light the flame at the top of the, thing, and then you'd see other flames pop up. So you're kind of seeing that, yes, there are other small communities within, or, other little houses or whatever. So it looks like they're trying to get help for that. Then, of course, when they get out into the open, they run into some other people. And that's really, I think, in any post-apocalypse, whether it's zombies or natural disaster or plague or whatever, any kind of post-apocalyptic movie, it's always less of what caused the apocalypse and more about the human evil element. I think that is honestly, what we're going to be looking at here. You're going to be seeing them, run into the others, survivors as well, and I'm sure they're not all happy-go-lucky, family-friendly. So it's going to be interesting to see. But they throw the kid. I'm like, if you're going to help, can you not leave the baby at home? Like, let someone else take care of the kid? Like, there's a whole community there. And I get it. It's, it's apocalypse. You don't want to leave your baby behind, because then you have to go back and get the baby. At the same time, it's like, it's a fucking baby. You're in an area where, you got to make sure there's less sound. So you got a little soundproof box and an oxygen tank in there. Way to go. So, yeah, I don't know. Interesting to see how it goes, though. So, Also, this past week, there was an interview with Evil Dead creator, Sam Raimi. And they were just talking about The Grudge, which we'll kind of get to as well. It opened up, a couple weeks ago. But they were talking about The Grudge. And so, of course, obviously they're bringing up Evil Dead. Will there be a part 4? And he said he would love to, but I guess currently right now they're making another Evil Dead movie. He didn't say if it was going to be a sequel or a standalone or remake, whatever. But he kind of made it sound like, because once again, Bruce Campbell said like he retired the character. But I'm like, come on, he'll come back. Everybody's coming back. Like the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase once said, everybody has a price. Every man has a price. So throw some money at him. I'm sure he'll come back. But he said he's definitely down for it. But apparently they are making another movie with a totally different writer-director. But I guess Sam Raimi and the whole team, I forget their names. The other Raimi and Taggart, is that his name? And maybe even Campbell's actually behind the scenes on this as well. But it's just like they're going to do the same thing they did with the remake. Because remember when the remake came out, they said the same thing. And clearly, I don't know, I was not a fan. Now, I know the remake has a lot of fans out there, and that's good for you. I honestly didn't like it. I thought it was just crap. Yes, it had really good gore, but beyond that, I'm just like, fuck it. I just much rather watch the original trilogy. But it just seems like we already did that once. And I know like the fans were kind of behind it, but it seems like clearly there wasn't enough behind it because nobody moved forward with a sequel. And if anything, it was such a negative reaction, we got Ash vs. Evil Dead out of it, which I would much rather have the follow-up. I just want to have the follow-up movie to that. I wanted to see where that story goes off. I would love to see just and I don't have to be a, full-fledged theatrical, but shit, just do like a Netflix original hour-long special. Just a complete wrap-up, Kelly and Pablo and Aaron. I don't know, I feel like even though they did kind of end it, sort of, which is in true fashion to the Evil Dead. Every Evil Dead ends with a crazy cliffhanger or whatever. It never completely wraps up. I still feel like there's still more stories there you can tell. And if Ash don't want to come back, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a little spinoff of like Kelly and Pablo doing their own thing, see what they're up to or whatever. But no, like I said, but he said he's wanting to do another one. He said he would like to do another one with Bruce. He doesn't know if he'd come back or not. And then they asked the question like, well, will they ever make a sequel to the remake? And he was like, yeah, if the guy wants to do it. And I'm just like, really? Like, didn't that guy go on to do I forget the director's name. I think he was Spanish, I think, or Mexican or something like that. But I think he went on to do Blind Guy. What the hell? Don't Breathe. That was it. Don't Breathe. Is that the same director? I don't know. Comment down below. I can go grab my phone right now, but we're doing a show and it's not professional. I think it's the same guy that did Don't Breathe. And it's just like, he's good. I just don't want to see. I don't want to see another remake of Evil Dead. Just get. I don't know. I can go off on a rant right now about fucking remakes and shit. I'm not going to do it. But still yet, just give us a sequel. Give us, the next chapter. Even if Ash doesn't come back, I'd rather see the story continue as opposed to just, well, we're going to do it again. Go back to the woods and play that tape. Read from the book. Holy shit. What's going to happen? Every fucking time. I don't know. Not big on it. So anyways, yeah, hopefully either Ash will come back or they'll just do a part 4 without him. I mean, I'm okay with that. So yeah, moving on now. We got ourselves a little game we're going to play here. Horror movie Villain Showdown. And basically, I just randomly grabbed 16 different horror villains and put them together. And each week I will present you guys with 2, and you guys can vote for who you want to move on. I don't care what you're looking at here. If you're looking at like a straight up street fight, if you're looking at just which character you like the best, popularity contest, it doesn't matter. It's up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do. I did my best to try to make it as random as possible. I didn't want to just have all the heavyweights fight each other. It didn't have like lesser knowns, whatever. I tried to have it as random as possible, so you could have some crazy lopsided matches or whatever. But the first two villains we're going to look at got ourselves Hannibal Lecter and Michael Myers. Let's look at these two guys right here. We got Hannibal Lecter, of course. He's from the Silence of the Lambs series. What would you call that? Every movie's a different title. Because you had, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, Red Dragon, Hannibal Rising. They had a TV show, I think you can call Hannibal. Yeah, I don't know what you call that. Just the Hannibal Lecter series. We'll call it the Hannibal series. From the Hannibal franchise, his biggest strength, obviously, is his intelligence. He's able to read people, get inside their minds, play mind games with them. Not just that, but clearly the dude, he's on a totally different sadistic level. No problem killing a motherfucker and eating them. Which that takes a totally different level of psychosis, I think. Seriously. Like, to just look at people not as people, but literally just as food. Like, we look at cows. I mean, I don't care if you're an animal lover or not. You know, I love animals, but I'll still eat a burger. So when I see a cow, I'm like, oh, that's a cute cow. But at some point, I'm going to eat him. And that's what this motherfucker's doing, looking at people. He's just like, oh yeah, that's a person, that's cool and everything, but I'm going to kill and eat that person at some point. So, totally different level of, psychosis there. Weapons of choice, I mean, I've seen the guy use just about anything, nightsticks, knives, syringes that he can use to drug his, enemies up to eat them, I guess. He's, like I said, more importantly, I guess, his intelligence. Going back to strengths, his intelligence is kind of his weapon as well, so there you go. And the guy's got, what, 4 movies? 5 if you count, what was it, Manhunter? Was that the first one? With Brian Cox as a Hannibal Lecter? But kind of got remade into Red Dragon. No, remade into Red Dragon, so it didn't really, I don't know. It's kind of the black sheep of the series, we just kind of look at the Anthony Hopkins. And then even the prequel was like, well, it's a prequel. Which I was not a fan of the Hannibal Rising, personally. This is, me personally. But yeah, dude, see, now, he survives those, don't he? I'm going to be a complete horror poser here. I never watched Hannibal. I need to, I know, but I just never watched it. Just never got around to it. But I love Red Dragon, and like I said, I made a point to go check out Hannibal Rising, but yeah, just never got around to watching Hannibal. So, and it's chronologically, that's the last one, because it goes like Hannibal Rising, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and boom. So I don't know if he survives at the end of at the end of Hannibal or not, but yeah, but he's mortal. So I mean, that's gonna be his biggest con right there. We'll move on next to Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise. The franchise has been splintered and fractured so much that it is what it is. Strengths, obviously, he's very stealthy. Also, just pure evil. I mean, depending on which version you're watching, it's either he's got a mental illness where he's just crazy and wants to kill just for the sake of killing, or he's being guided by the druid symbol, the thorn, and he's just going around, possessed by the cosmos, trying to kill people. Either way you look at it, though, he's like an unthinking killing machine, just going through it and everything. Once again, he's got his knife. His weapon of choice is, of course, a kitchen knife, which I always called a butcher knife, and then someone told me before, like, well, that's not technically they did the. Well, technically, it's not a butcher knife; it's a kitchen knife. What the fuck, ever? Kitchen knife. But once again, he'll use anything. My favorite fucking kill from the Halloween, just in general franchise, is in Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, when he just takes his shotgun of the cop and he just like impels this chick up on the wall. It's awesome, freaking awesome. Like I said, you see him pull out a shotgun, you're like, holy crap, is he packing? Nope, he uses it a different way. So, yeah, once again, he's got the timeline for Michael Myers is a little crazy. We got the original Halloween, and then it goes to part 2. And then it goes to 4, 5, and 6. But then they reset it, and they erase 4, 5, and 6. So then you got part 1, part 2, H2O, Resurrection. Then we erase all that but 1, and we got Halloween, and then Halloween again because, fuck it, same title. And then we got 2 more coming out, which isn't one of them actually Halloween Kills and Halloween, what's the other one? Dies? Halloween Dies? Doesn't matter. So yeah, 3 separate timelines here. And then of course you can throw in the Rob Zombie remake in his 2 films. So there you go. Lots, but he depending on which franchise you're looking at, he's either kind of unstoppable. He doesn't really come off as immortal though. I don't think we've ever seen Myers die in any of those movies. I think he just kind of has a high threshold for pain, and somehow, I mean, maybe you can chalk it up by like part 6. The cosmos, the thorn is what's driving him, and maybe that's what's bringing him back each time. But for the most part, just another regular dude who just kind of has a high threshold for pain and no empathy, for anybody else. So yeah, there you guys have it: Hannibal Lecter versus Michael Myers. Who do you think would win? Whether if it's just a down and dirty street fight, whether maybe they know about you, that could be it. Maybe we're just throwing them randomly in a ring and saying go. Maybe it's like, okay, Hannibal, here's your opponent. We literally dossiers on each person, and you're just like, kill them or we'll try to kill you. And they start off in their own hometowns. I don't know where Hannibal Lecter's from. Some big metropolis somewhere, but then Myers is from Haddonfield, so then they know. So now Hannibal gets a chance to kind of set up a trap for him, possibly, maybe hunting. See, this is an interesting crossover you never would have thought you would have. So Hannibal Lecter versus Michael Myers. Who do you think would win? Drop those comments down below. And you know what? Throw a little reason if you don't mind. I would love to hear like your little the fan theory of like, here's how the story would go. Myers would just snap his neck, 2 seconds, roll credits, and that'd be the end of it. Whatever you guys want to do it, drop them down below. And then, like I said, next week at this time, I will go ahead and count the tallies up. We'll announce the winner. If it ends in a tie, this guy's going to be the tiebreaker. That's right. I don't vote. But when it comes to a tie, I'm the tiebreaker. So there you have it. So we didn't do a show last week. First, we tried to start this thing off in January, but come on, it's the first week of January, so we didn't have a show. We just didn't have it. But there was a movie that came out last week. It was The Grudge. Yes, the remake or pseudo sequel. It may be like not a remake at all, but just kind of like in the same universe as the other trilogy or what have you. But the storyline's the same. There's a house that's haunted or cursed. I don't know what you want to call it, but anybody who goes into it will be marked. They will basically be, and they can't get out, but they can't get rid of it, they can't get away from it, and they will end up dying a horrible, violent death. So, because the rage, the curse, the grudge, whatever you want to call it, it's all in there. I want to see it. I do want to see it. I want to check it out. I'm really curious to see, what they do with it. As far as seeing horror films, I don't discriminate too much. Anything that comes out that's horror related, I will usually check it out. Even if I have some reservations about it, you can usually get me to sit down and watch it, because I'm just like, we'll see what's going on here. Whereas on paper, maybe it doesn't look that great, because it's like, wow, it's part 4, after 2 straight, no, the second one was theatrical, third one was straight to video, after a straight to video, thing, and then basically the franchise has been dead for about a decade. They're just now kind of dusting it off, for the new decade, for the 20s, the roaring 20s. They're going to start off with The Grudge. And like I said, the original Ju-on, or however you would pronounce it, Ju-on, I don't know if they, do a soft J over there or not. But anyways, Ju-on, really cool visuals. The movies themselves, I wasn't huge on the original Japanese versions. They just had this really cheap look to them, and I don't know. I wasn't huge on it. I mean, they had these subtle scares and everything. For the most part, though, it just kind of looked whatever. But I didn't watch them all. And I mean, my God, there was like a shit ton of them over there. Like, I don't know how many. If I had to guess, this is just a pulling it out my ass guess. There's probably like 5, 6 of them. Not counting, they did a crossover with Kayako versus, what's the girl from The Ring? Not Samara, but the Japanese version. Is her name Sayako? No, Kayako is the girl from The Grudge. It doesn't matter. The Ring versus Grudge was what it was, pretty much. And I'm like, I don't know fuck that movie, how that ended, but I want to see that. Like, I don't care how cheesy it gets. If it really was just them, like, in the well, punching each other, beating the fucking shit out of each other, I'm in. Just straight up street fight. Just talking, balls to the wall, fists flying, they're banging their head off the wall, people grabbing weapons. I don't give a shit. I want to see that movie. But anyway, but that came out. And then I want to say there was other remakes over there. I want to say like maybe like, I don't know, Korea did a Korean remake of it, and like maybe like down in the Philippines. I don't know. There were several like little smaller remakes of it as well. But then of course the one that everybody thinks about over here is of course the 2004 The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I really like that movie. I don't know what the hell's going on out there. Like they're drag racing. It's like January. It's like snowing. It's fucking snowing. They're like, it's drag race. But no, The Grudge, a lot of people kind of, split. I've met people who just flat out hated it, thought it was just cheesy or corny or whatever. Found people who thought it was really scary. I think it's pretty creepy. I don't think it's nearly as creepy as The Ring, but it still kind of falls. And once again, the fact that it's these, the dead girl with the long black hair, there's a lot of, comparisons you can draw with The Ring. To me, it works. And the actress that got to play Kayako, am I saying that right? Correct me in the comments. Anyways, Kayako, her, Grudge Girl, she looks very creepy. And the way, she would twitch down the stairs and shit, I mean, it is, the kid, is his name Toshi? I know Toshi's the kid from, American Dad. I'm just coming off sounding like a racist now, just throwing out random Japanese names. His name's like Yoshi or Toshi or something like that. But the little grudge kid with the cat, I never found him that scary. Like, if I'm in the house and I see Kayako crawling down the stairs, I'm running. I see little Yoshi or Toshi over there, I'm drop kicking him. I don't care. Like, I will just straight up drop kick that motherfucker. I mean, he may turn into a weird black hairball demon thing and eat me alive right then and there, but there's no fear going into that drop kick. The fear happens mid-drop kick when I'm up like, ah! And the kick's up, and then he's just like, roar. I'm like, holy shit, I messed this up. But, you know, as far as if it's just him, I'll punch him right in the fucking face. I'll kill his cat. I'll give a shit. I'll tear them up. But the grudge girl, no, don't mess with her. I'll cry. I will literally cry and run away. So, 2, I don't know. I rewatched 2 recently. In fact, I have the trilogy now. I'll point to the collection off screen here. You guys can't see it. First time I watched 2, I didn't like it at all, but it was really confusing. It jumped around, much like the first one. It jumps around, but this is where Daniel gets himself in trouble. But fuck it, I'll say it. So when Ju-on came out, when I watched it the first time, my biggest complaint was I couldn't tell the actresses apart. I know that sounds horribly racist, and I'm very sorry. I'm just being truthful. When I was watching it, I was like, I don't know who's who, and it threw me off. But part 2 wasn't much better because it was like the most generic white girls you've ever seen, and I kept getting confused on who was out on the screen at the time. They kept jumping around too much, and I was even just going like, man, all these white girls look alike. So that was kind of the issue I had with part 2 and the original Japanese version, was that I just kept getting confused watching. I didn't know who the character was. I didn't know what was going on. And all I'm just watching was just a bunch of random people being haunted. And so I couldn't really connect on the story. At least in part 1, everybody looked very different. They had different hairstyles and, you know, whatever. They looked different. So, I mean, I knew who they were. Part 2, didn't understand any of it. But 3, the straight-to-video one, which also gets a lot of crap, actually was really good. I really enjoyed part 3. Didn't just, I don't know, 2 didn't really copy the first one. I mean, they did kind of make the curse expand outward because now it comes to America and everything. And 3 picks up on that, and now it's, you're getting a lot of the people. Characters from part 2 are still in it and everything. And just, I don't know, it was really well done, but unfortunately, because it's part 3 and it was straight to video, people just kind of turned their nose up at it. And I feel like a lot of people didn't even see it. They just assumed, like, oh, it's straight to video. I'm not watching it. But either way, now getting back on course, The Grudge, the 2020 version, we got Harold, was it John Cho? Harold from Harold Kumar. He's in it. We got Lin Shaye, horror heavyweight there. I love her. And my God, the girl, Betty Gilpin? She's from Glow. She's Liberty Bell. Love her in that. She's done a bunch of stuff beyond that, but honestly, I'm always going to see her as Liberty Bell from Glow. And then Andrea, she was from The Death of Stalin. I can't think of her name. Andrea. I'm blanking. I'm sorry, Andrea. If you're out there watching this video, I'm sorry I blanked my name, because I think you're a great actor. I thought you was great in Mandy. Thought you were awesome in Death of Stalin. Just a great. And the thing is, it was her interview that really got me excited for The Grudge coming out, because you just want to. I mean, she did Mandy, I guess. I don't know. She just seemed like she's more like a classier actress. Like she would do more like high pictures as opposed to just our dirty horror films that we do down here. But she said she really loved the script, and that's really what drew her to it. And I don't know, just hearing her talk, it was kind of made me really like, you know what, I really want to see this movie now more than I wanted to, previously. The fact that it's R rating, everybody's getting a boner for it. I'm just like, a rating doesn't ever matter to me. Because look at the first two, Grudge and The Ring, both PG-13, and I think they're both scary as shit. Or they do great horror films. So to me, a rating doesn't matter, and there's plenty of R-rated horror films that just suck. So just because you can throw gore and blood and titties up on the screen does not mean it's going to be a good movie, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, it's true. So, I don't know, but once again, the fact that it's rated R, everybody seems to be pumped about, so, I mean, maybe we'll get some crazy creative death scenes, but, who knows, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, The Grudge came out last week, so I haven't seen it yet, but I definitely want to check it out. And then this weekend, we got Underwater. A group of underwater researchers in their little underwater space or sea lab station. I keep thinking of sea lab for some reason. Then I thought about space lab, and then that doesn't matter. Anyway, but they're underwater, and an earthquake hits, and it fucking fucks shit up. And now they got to try to get out of there. However, when the earthquake hit, it opened up the ground or the bottom floor, and guess what? There's some creatures down in there. Of course, I don't know what the creatures are. In the trailer, they go really quickly, but the poster itself just shows. I'm assuming it's Kristen Stewart, but she's standing there, and then there's this huge fucking like dark mouth with like razor sharp teeth, and I'm just like, holy shit. That's some scary shit right there. Underwater horror is like my kryptonite. Like, I don't know. I can watch anything, and it doesn't bother me. Ghosts, demons, serial killers, you name it, doesn't give a fuck. You need to go creature feature on land. Giant snakes and fucking pterodactyls and bats and lions and shit. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. But for some reason, sharks scare the shit out of me. And then any kind of weird sea creature that, you know, has shark-like quality that will just rip you apart, yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. So, yeah, that's a big draw here. The cast has Stephen Lang, which he was the blind dude from Don't Breathe. And then we got T.J. Miller, which he's just T.J. I know I love about T.J. Miller. It's like he's not an actor. Dude's just like T.J. Miller and everything, but we accept it. We're like, no, I like T.J. Miller. He's fun. And it's just, and like even like before the earthquake, he just looks scuzzy in this movie. Like he just looks like, he looks pretty rough. And then we got Kristen Stewart, which honestly I've never been a big fan of Kristen Stewart. And you can always kind of draw that back to Twilight. I've never been a Twilight fan. I think they're some of the worst movies there. But I'm not the target audience for it either. And that's the other thing I always want to clarify. Like, clearly, if I was a teenage girl, I'd be tearing them up. But obviously, I'm not, and I'm just not big on them. But that's not the case because I actually love Robert Pattinson. I think he's a great actor. And seeing him kind of, you know, emerge. And the thing is, like, after Twilight, it's like he made his money, got his nut, and then literally he went to, like, the underground, went to the indie scene, which I totally respect. And Kristen Stewart just kept doing garbage. I mean, I'm sorry, Snow White, Charlie's Angels, I don't care. You know, these are just crap, garbage movies. And, yeah, I've just never thought she's that good of an actress on any level. Even watched her in Messengers, her pre-Twilight horror film, and it just did nothing for me. The meme that you see out there where, you know, you see like the memes where it shows like different actors, their happy face and their angry face and their, you know, sad face, and you're seeing their faces contort to different, you know, emotions, and then the Kristen Stewart picture is just her same face through. And, I mean, seriously, watched, and I know she's still young in Twilight, and, you know, who knows, maybe there are some movies out there I haven't seen that she's done recently that maybe are good. I'm not giving them a chance. But I do want to see this, but once again, less for her and more for this awesome. And even the trailer, she looked like she was just kind of bored and there. Like, she's brushing her teeth, and then, like, there's some crazy shit about that. She just kind of stared. Yeah. She just looks dead in the eyes, which I'm sure she probably is. So, anyway, but Underwater, I do want to check out. Like I said, I'm all about creature features. Underwater horror, that's one of the few things that can still scare me. So, I'm always, every time there's an underwater horror film, it's like, yes, I got to check this out. And it just looks, like I said, the fact they're not giving anything away in the trailer, you're not seeing anything hardly, except for quick flashes and people screaming and being dragged off. That's it. So, I'm like, you know what? Let's check this out. So, alright guys, let's get on to it then. I guess I've done enough rambling for the first part of this show. Let's get to the main event. Let's talk about The Exorcist. 1973. The main story, I guess, in a nutshell would just be this little girl gets possessed by a demon, I guess we'll say. I'll get to that in a second, but she gets possessed by a demon, and so her mother tries to get some help, and of course it comes in the form of these two priests that show up to try to perform the exorcism. So I guess to properly review this, I'll have to give you guys my full story here. I watched this for the first time when I was in junior high. Now, I have never seen the actual, legitimate, theatrical version. Never seen it. When I was in junior high, that's when they did the re-release of the theater, or the version you'd never seen. And they re-released it in theaters with new scenes added in. Most infamously is the spider walk scene. And there's other stuff. I don't like the ending with, the Father Dyer and, what's the cop's name? Kincaid? That it? Doesn't matter. Officer Kincaid. I'm probably completely wrong. I know I'm butchering that. Kindleman. Kindleman, is that it? Kindleman. I'm going Kindleman. It seems more it. They have an extra scene where it kind of establishes their friendship or whatever. And so, that's the version I've always seen. We had it on VHS, and I watched it then. And then that's it. And then when I bought the DVD, I bought the 3-pack, the first 3 movies. This is before Exorcist Beginning came out. And that's the version on DVD they had, and I just never went out and bought another one. Like, I'm not that guy who goes out and buys different versions of movies. The only exception would maybe be if, like, Quentin Tarantino was just like, I'm re-releasing this movie, I'm like, okay, I'm getting that. But beyond that, I don't buy, like, re-releases. Once I buy a copy, it's like, fuck it, I got the copy. I don't need anything else. So, I never seen it after. I've still, to this day, never seen it. As a child, and I mean as a kid, you know, there were a lot of movies that, you know, my parents, for the most part, didn't care what I watched. You know, I was brought up knowing that these are movies, you know, no big deal, you know, it's Hollywood, it's not real, you know, just, you know the difference between right and wrong, you know, the standard talk that every parent should give their kids. But for the most part, my parents didn't give a shit what I watched. And I say parent, I should say just my mom. I said that wasn't really part of the equation in this, but my mom, you know, she'd always be like, hey, you know, go wild, watch whatever you want. So, I mean, I was always watching, like, you know, slasher films, all the splatter films, and just, you know, whatever, you know, she didn't care. But there was a handful of movies that she always kind of got weird about. And those movies were The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This one's a little bit more appropriate, even though now we know it's fake. The Many Faces of Death was another one that she was not wanting us to watch when we were little. And then The Exorcist was on this list, right? And so, would eventually kind of wear her down. She never did let me watch The Faces of Dead, but she owned them. So, like, when she's just out of the house, I just snuck them, like, and watched them, which, I don't know, there's a part of it you're like, you know, I'm watching something I shouldn't be watching. But when you think it's real, I don't know, it changes it for me. And so, like, that was never appealing to me, watching real death, or what I assumed was real death. So, I don't know, I was just never big on that anyways. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, though, I finally got her, I wore her down on that one, and we actually rented it at our local video store. We had an awesome mom and pop store called North End Video here in Bedford, and it was fucking amazing. It had, like, anything you could think of. It was awesome. And, but we rented that one weekend, and watched it, and I mean, I loved it, but didn't think it was scary at all. And so then I was like, I want The Exorcist. And that was the one movie she literally, like, you know, she was firm on when I watched it. Now, at this point, I should say my age is actually before junior high, so this is like elementary school. So, like 10 years old, I want to watch the movie. And, you know, she let me watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 10 years of age, but wouldn't let me watch The Exorcist. And so it wasn't until the version that you didn't see in theaters came out, and my uncle had it. And so I borrowed it from him and just watched it. And, of course, I think he may have told her, you know, so I wasn't really getting away with anything, but I think at that point, you know, I was a little older, so she's like, yeah, go ahead. And I'll be honest with you, 13-year-old Daniel watching this movie was not impressed. I didn't think it was scary. I didn't think it was creepy. Honestly, found it a little boring. It wasn't huge on it. Just was not huge on it. Would go out and get the sequels, because, I mean, I heard great things about Part 3. Didn't hear anything good about 2. Didn't hear anything bad either, but, you know, wouldn't be until after I watched it, I was like, what the fuck? And now I realized that 2 is considered one of the worst horror films ever. Really love 3. Like, and to this day, 3 is still my favorite in the series. Would eventually watch the beginning, which it gets panned quite a bit, but I liked it. I thought it was good. But it was just never big on 1. But when I bought the 3-pack, the trilogy, I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Because I was probably in my late teens. I moved out on my own at this point, so I was out on my own. So I was like 18, 19 or so. And I'm watching it for a second time. And where I didn't quite come around on it, I liked it a little bit more. I noticed that, and that was back in 2004, so here we are now, it's 2020, and I just watched it, you know, yesterday for this review. I've seen it maybe 6 times since then, estimation, and each time I watch it, it does get better. I do like this film now. I still think it's one of the most overrated horror films of all time. Because you gotta remember, this is considered by a lot of people, and not just like, you know, no, it is, by a lot of people, the scariest film ever made. Now, a lot of that's going to be about my upbringing. Now, my parents, they were religious just in the sense of, like, they believed in God. But, like, we never went to church. We never prayed before meals. Like, religion was never a thing for us as a kid. Like, it was never nothing at all. So, and then when I hit my junior high years, that's when I really started kind of going toward that agnostic area. Like, I would never admit it to anybody, because I live in a very conservative religious town. So, you know, but still yet, so whenever I became an adult and this full-blown atheist, so it's just one of those things where it's like, this movie never scares me, I think, for the same reason it scared everybody else, is because everybody else is a believer to a certain extent, especially back in the 70s. Like, I'm sure I don't know what the statistics are, but I'm sure the number of atheists today certainly outweigh the number of atheists from the 70s, especially here in America. So it's one of those things where I feel like that's probably where a lot of the hype came from. It was people like, holy shit, my soul's in trouble watching this thing, or this was clearly, influenced by the devil or whatever. And just the fact that I just, to me, Satan is nothing more than another horror movie villain, much in the vein of Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. That's all it is to me, and supernatural horror has always been my least scary type film. Like, don't get me wrong, there could be a lot of jumps, when I watch, like, The Conjuring or Insidious, yeah, I'll jump, because, yeah, it's still scary, sinister, scary. But as far as, like, it leaving an impact, not so much. Like, I can still walk into a dark, creepy house by myself at midnight, and it's a scene of, like, a mass murder, like, 10 years before, and it's reported haunted, and it wouldn't bother me, because I'm just like, no, there's nothing in here. So that's probably the main reason I don't find this nearly as scary. Now, from a filmmaking perspective, I think it's just a really great film. It really, just top-notch acting. It has a very natural vibe to it. I think that's another thing I really like about this movie. And in fact, even though it's made in the 70s, it feels almost timeless when you watch it. I mean, there's a couple things that I snicker at when they're in the doctor's office and the doctor's smoking a cigarette in the office. I'm like, yeah, it's not happening today, but it is what it is. And I mean, like I said, I think like from a filmmaking perspective, it's great. Once again, never saw the theatrical version, but as far as the unrated director's cut or whatever the fuck you want to call it, love it. And I think that those little subtle touches, I really dig. The flashes of the demon face, Pazuzu, I dig. I dig the spider walk, obviously. All the great classic scenes. The, demon voice, the masturbating the crucifix, spitting up the pea soup, the exorcism scene itself. I mean, it's brutal. I love it. And once again, to this day, it still looks great. Her levitating off the bed looks fantastic. The fact that the room just drops in temperature. And it's just almost like, I don't know, there's no rules when you watch this movie. Like, they go in there and it's just like, fuck. Like, they're entering a war zone, even though it's just this small exorcism in this little girl's room. You feel like they're entering a war zone, and I think I really dig that. Performances across the board are fantastic. Even the supporting characters, I think, did really good. The guy who plays Kindleman, if I'm getting that name right, I'm sorry if I'm not, and Dyer. But, of course, Jason Miller as Father Karras. Damien Karras is his name. I thought that was so weird. Like, even as a kid, when I finally did watch this, because one of my favorite movies that deal with, I guess, Satan or, whatever in general, is The Omen. And his name is Damien, and that's like another name for Satan. And like this dude, he was a priest. His name is actually Damien. You figure like maybe the church would be like, listen, you can't use that. We'll call you D Karras. That's your new name. Father. Let's call you Father Karras. Let's leave the D out completely. Just Karras. You'd be like Cher, but Karras. But no, his name's Damien Karras. I thought that was great. Max von Sydow, is that how you pronounce his name? Shadow? Doesn't matter. He does really good as Father Marin. I want to say Merlin. Father Marin. I didn't realize that dude was only like 44 years old and all that shit was makeup on him. Because I saw him in another movie not so long ago from around the same time period. I was like, wait a minute, that's not him. That kid who was old back then. It's like, no, he was actually made up look that way. And I'm like, holy shit. So bravo to the special effects people who did not just his makeup, but also, Reagan's makeup. Linda Blair as Reagan. Thought she did really well. It's funny though, because she was nominated for an Academy Award, and then I guess around that time it came out that the voice that she was that you hear the demon voice was a separate actor. So I think a lot of people know that now, but I guess it caused a lot of controversy. Because I guess that's kind of why she was nominated. Maybe they're like, she threw her voice, and it's like, oh come on, you should know better than that. But either way, it is what it is. This movie did win the Academy Award, maybe for like best screenplay, maybe. Because the movie itself is based on the book by William Peter Blatty. Anyway, but he wrote, and of course, it's based on a true story. Now, once again, if you believe that or not, whatever. But it is actually based on an actual event, and of course, the kids. They changed the kid's name. It's like Roland Doe is what they call him in the book, I believe is what they said. but it was a 1949. It was a young boy that apparently was demon possessed, and then there was an exorcism that followed, and yeah, really, that's kind of the whole thing right there. So that's where the basis came from. William Blatley wrote the book, and then of course he sold it to Warner Brothers, but on the condition that he will always be attached as a producer, and that basically his voice will be heard, like his opinion is going to matter. Which, as the movies would go on, it became less and less about that. See Part 3 for that. But anyways, but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it got the screenplay. Ellen, he pronounces her last name, Burstyn, who plays the mother, also nominated as well. I mean, like I said, this was like the first time a horror movie was not just a blockbuster, but also like dominated the Oscars. Like, that's insane. And even to this day, I mean, it's not that it's completely impossible. It's still just a rarity. Like, seriously, how many times can you actually think of a horror movie that did well at the Oscars? In fact, Get Out just did it recently. And even now, I'm still kind of like, wow, that really happened. Because really, from there back, you can only maybe pull out a handful of times. Silence of the Lambs would be another one. And even then, they tried to, like, rearrange that. They're like, well, it's not horror, it's a thriller movie. Which, you can make the argument. I don't care. It don't matter. But still, yeah, the point is, horror, thriller, no matter what, doesn't do well at the Oscars, so this movie kind of came along and shook things up in a big way. And then, of course, when the movie came out, there was all the hype that people who were watching it were having heart attacks or throwing up, and people were being rushed to the hospital after watching this movie or while they're watching the movie. I think they even said like there were a few theaters that were handing out barf bags with their with the tickets, and I'm just like, that's so awesome. But anyways. But no, it became a huge cultural phenomenon, and then, like I said, it basically spawned a ton of like Exorcist movies, rip-off movies in the '70s. Would go on to spawn its own sequels, followed by The Heretic, which was fucking awful. We won't talk about that though. And like I mentioned before, Part 3, and then they did 2 Part 4s, which that's another story for another time. Like I said, at this point, at this age, I do really like this movie, but probably for a different reason than anybody else. Like I said, I dig it more as a film and as it's a good movie. But as far as it being the scariest, no, it's definitely not. It's just it's a good movie. To me, it's on the level of like a Don't Look Now, or even like The Omen. The Omen I think is even creepier than this one, but still it's on that same level. It's just like art horror, I guess. Even though this clearly wouldn't probably qualify as art horror, it's still like that drama horror. Rosemary's Baby. I'm not trying to just pull out devil-related horror films, but it does kind of fit that, where it's not just based on jump scares. It's actually, grounded in great storytelling. And then, on top of that, a great movie on top of it. So, I want to talk about a couple of things that kind of irk me, though. Let's talk right now about Pazuzu. Now, when I first watched this movie, they never mentioned Pazuzu. And even now, even the theatrical version, or the extended version, there's no mention of Pazuzu. So I just assumed it was Satan. Satan himself. Old Scratch, the devil, a million other titles you can give the guy, Damien, whatever you want to say, it was Satan. And so I've always watched this movie under that impression. And then when I watched Part 2, they mentioned like Pazuzu, but that movie's such a fucking mess that I was like, I fell asleep during it the first time I watched it. It was boring. But then you watch it even coherently, it still doesn't make a lot of sense. But I guess it's Part 2 they dropped that it's a demon, Pazuzu. But then like it just became standard, like everybody's like, no, this ain't Satan, it's Pazuzu, and I'm just like, fuck you. Like, even now I watch it, and I'm watching it knowing that, okay, it's supposed to be Pazuzu, it just feels like it's Satan. Like, how is it not Satan? That's what I want to know. How is it not Satan? I don't know. And then like Part 3, it feels like it is Satan again, even though it's connected to, so I don't know, like 3 is definitely more of a sequel to 1 than 2 was. It's almost like they did the Halloween thing where 2's a sequel, but so is 3, and we just follow 3 because fuck 2. But yeah, I don't know. I watch this movie, and even now, I don't care what Mr. Blatley says or William Freakin, or how he pronounces his last name. I don't care what anybody says. All the film scholars in the world can be like, listen, Daniel, here's the thing. It's Pazuzu. No, fuck you. It's Satan. Yeah, it's Satan. That's all there is to it. So that's just what I always looked at. Secondly, now this is less to do with this movie, but it's kind of in the same realm, I guess, is I recently watched The Curse of La Llorona, and there's a scene in that where the ghost demon, whatever you want to call her, is attacking this woman under the swimming pool, and there's a preacher there, and he blesses the swimming pool turns the whole swimming pool into holy water, and the demon just like flies out, right? And I'm just like, I've always thought about that when I watched any kind of Exorcist movie, whether it was from the Exorcist series or the Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's just like, why isn't there kind of standard with the exorcism kit? You got your Bible, your rosary, the little purple sash thing, your holy water, and then a swimming pool. A little kiddie swimming pool you bring with you, and you fill that bitch up with some water, and you bless it. And then, just during the exorcism, you just like choke slam that little kid into the fucking pool. How would that not work? How would that not work? I don't know. It's not much of a story. No, fuck you. That's an awesome story, because then the demon pops out and then turns into, like, goes into someone else's, and then you gotta like try to catch that guy and pull back in the pool. I mean, it still works. I just feel like, as a kid, I was even thinking, like, why don't you get a super soaker in there and just fucking drown the kid? Like, literally, a glass of water even, just splash. Holy water, bitch. Ah. No. Never thought about it, I guess. I don't know. I guess, from a dramatic standpoint, this doesn't make it too appealing to watch. But for this guy right here, that's my movie right there. Just start chokeslamming these fucking kids and powerbomb a kid into a swimming pool full of holy water and watch the end result. Tell me that wouldn't be exciting. So that's all I got for this week, guys. What did you guys think of The Exorcist? I'm sure you guys all out there have seen it. If you haven't, at some point, 2020, you've never seen The Exorcist, fuck you. Stop this right now and go watch it. In fact, right now it's on if you don't want to pay for it, it's on like IMDb TV, which unfortunately will have commercials, but you know what? Kids your age, you need commercials. You guys are spoiled on streaming as it is, so a little commercial thing won't hurt you. No, it's on there right now. I mean, I'm sure you probably rent it at your local video store. Even our family video, which has nothing but like the newest Michael Bay shit and Fast and Furious, sequels. It even has this classic section that The Exorcist is in, so I mean, you can definitely check it out. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu or anything like that, but anyways, yeah. Let me know what you guys thought of it, though. Drop your comments down below. And yeah, this is our first run. This is the very first episode of the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson. So let us know what you think of the show. I would love to know, what parts you like, what parts you don't like. Just drop all those comments down below. And then the little ad bump at the end of this will show all of our social media. So, I mean, it's not just this. This is what the whole channel's about. We got a whole other, ton of stuff that we do here at TPS. But, yeah, this is just something I really like to do. Like I said, I just love talking movies. So I just, give me a little outlet here to talk, and that's all we got. So, guys, thank you for watching. Till next time. Oh, shit. Didn't know which one. Sorry. Hi. Thank you for watching that video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to our channel. All that good stuff you do right here on YouTube, go ahead and do it. Check out our other videos. Go to our playlist. We got episodes of TPS TV, Journey Through the Dark Side. We got a new show coming out, the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson. This guy. And of course, our short film, Entropy. You can find all that and more right here on YouTube. And then check out, yeah, look at that. All of our social media right there. And we don't just, copy and paste like the same post and put it on all. No, that's ridiculous. 3 different platforms, 3 different posts. I mean, the behind the scenes stuff you see on Twitter will not be the same stuff you see on Instagram. So there you go, right there. So be sure to get on, give us a follow and a like on all that right there. Keep up to date. Have you seen Unspeakable Acts yet? No? Come on. Pick you up the DVD right now. Links over there. Oh, yeah. It's only $7. $3 shipping and handling. And of course, if you've already seen it and you haven't seen the Public Domain Dungeon yet, boom, $5 DVD right there. So 5 S&P as well. Or sorry, 3 S&P as well. So there you go. Do that. And if you got the spare change, you want to hit us up, donate a little bit over here to TPS Productions. Our Patreon is right there. Oh yeah. So that's all we. Oh my God, sorry. I'm getting fired, ain't I? Guys, that's all we got. Thank you for watching.